We've hit the end of OTAs. Only minicamp remains until the Broncos take a 5-week break for the summer. We'll cover some of the guys looking to make a lasting impression before that break, plus some major news from two of the biggest names in Broncos history. Welcome into Broncos Weekend, everybody. I'm Matt Boyer. We'll get to some of that major news in just a moment, but as always in studio, we begin with the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater. Steve?
What's up, Boyer? How are you today?
We are done with OTAs. Minicamp starts next week. How do you feel about this team heading into minicamp?
Well, I feel pretty good right now. There were no letdowns, fortunately, no injuries or anything like that. Some guys have got little tweaks here and there, but nothing major. About what we thought, the quarterback situation, obviously, that's going to be the talk up until training camp. So, hey, it's been nice. It's been fun, but, hey, we're ready for more.
Regardless of how next week shakes out, Steve, there are going to be some position groups more than others, some intrigue a little bit as we head into minicamp and the summer break. So I want to take a look at some of the position groups that are going to have the most attention or maybe some of the most intrigue as we head into the break. And that includes the inside linebackers, Josey Jewell and Alexander Johnson.
My goal is always to be the number one inside linebacker in the league. So that's what I'm going to work for each game in and out.
And he'll be sacked and flung to the ground. That is Alexander Johnson.
You know, me and Josey are going to be the starting guys, just by our performance and how we carry ourselves on the field. But like rotation-wise, we've been rotating pretty good at camp with starting at and then the other guys. I feel like pretty much all years I've been playing sports or any competition, I've always been one of the leaders. And usually, you know, you can show your leadership about what you do on the field, about hustling your tail, being a good player and uplifting guys and motivating and talking. So, but just try to let my game speak for itself.
Tackled by Alexander Johnson, the ball knocked free, and I think the Broncos have it.
I think with both of us, it's we're being able to work a lot better together. You know, with a couple years under our belts together, and leadership from him is pretty good. You know, he's a vocal guy, and he'll tell you when you're right or wrong, and you know, he'll get those huddles broke and stuff like that. And I think we're just doing a great job, and I think everybody's doing a good job right now of keeping people accountable and working hard during this OTA time.
Denver rushes 4 again. Darnold in the pocket. He will be hit and pulled down, and a loss on the play, and there's a sack, the first of the season for Josey Jewell.
I feel pretty good right now. I feel like, you know, it's your job to lose pretty much at this scenario, this situation. So, you know, I'm just going to keep on going out there every day and try to get better and try to show the team that I'm a good leader, a great player, and a great person out there. So, you know, it's just going to be day in, day out, keep on working, and hopefully that works out.
Steve, this is a big offseason for Alexander Johnson and Josey Jewell. Both have expiring contracts at the end of 2021. Both have a lot to prove. We've heard from both of them. Last year wasn't what they both wanted it to be. They've got a lot to prove this season. How important are the inside linebackers to this defense? We talked about the secondary, the edge rushers. How important are the ILBs for the 2021 Broncos?
They're extremely important because we have teams that are in the division and throughout the conference and not in our division who not only pass the ball well, but they also run the ball well. And you know, if you're not solid at the inside linebacker position, they're gonna pound it on you. And fortunately, both of those guys played well last year. I think Alexander Johnson dropped off just a little bit, especially as the season wore on. But you know, I'm looking for him to have a strong comeback this year. And Josey Jewell, he really stepped his game up last year. So yeah, they're going into the season with a lot of optimism.
We've been hearing a lot about dime defense this offseason, right? The Broncos have a ton of great defensive backs in that secondary room. So how does that impact the inside linebacker group? Because we just talked about rotating. I mean, does that mean if Vic Fangio looks at that secondary and says, okay, we've got Pat Surtain, Ronald Darby, Kyle Fuller, Michael Ojemudia. How are we getting these guys on the field? I want to play a little bit more dime defense. Does that mean an inside linebacker is coming off the field? Possibly.
Or defensive lineman. You just never know. Depending on how creative they get with that defense, it certainly can be a linebacker. A lot's going to depend on how well they know the defense. I'm talking about the linebackers. And can they play zone and man-to-man coverage? If we're playing if we have to play a lot of man-to-man coverage for whatever reason and guys can't play man-to-man, you're not going to be on the field. They're going to put a corner or a safety in there to cover the tight end or the running back or whoever that extra receiver is.
The secondary might be the deepest position group, Steve, but a position group that might give it a run for its money is that offensive line group that we've been
yes.
hearing a lot about, Mike Munchak and company in that O-line room. And two of the guys in that strong group, Lloyd Cushenberry and Dalton Reisner, spoke to the media this week. And even though they're getting the pub, they're getting a lot of praise, those two guys still want to disprove any doubts that Broncos country might have about that group.
It's been great. I feel like even with the new pieces we have, and we've been getting a lot of good work in individual. We've been, me and Dalton had a conversation last night, just watching film, watching the practice about what we can do in certain situations, what different calls we can make to make each other better. So we've been getting a lot of good work in.
Lloyd has grown so much, and he worked so hard over this offseason. I think he looks really good. He's calling it out really well. That's who I'm working with right now. So a lot of respect towards Lloyd. I think he's grown. He's going to continue to grow, man. It's so fun to be with these guys. Quinn Miners being the rookie, man, I have so much respect for him and his story and who he is as a person. It's been great to get to know him, and I love his work ethic. And I think he's going to continue to grow this year. So it's awesome that people are excited about it. There's competition all over the board. I promise you guys, it's not only at the center position. We're trying to put the 5 best guys on the field, 11 best guys on the field for offense. And man, we've been working our tails off. So there's competition everywhere.
Competition is good for everyone. We're going to push each other. We're pushing each other already in OTAs. And he's a great guy off the field. And he's a great player. So we're going to make each other better. And whoever steps up, that's going to get the job.
Be able to go out there and run plays against a defense, not your own guys, not a walkthrough. And they're moving around, they're calling calls, linebackers are hitting gaps, they're slanting. You got to communicate when the snap is going quick. It's huge for us, man. It's something I really, really wanted to have last year. I think it was really beneficial for me my rookie year. And going into this year, I'm really grateful that we have a full 2 weeks of 11 on 11, and we've had 4 weeks before this to really start going over plays and install.
Dalton Reisner talked about how important this time is, Steve, this OTAs. And now, granted, offensive linemen, they're not getting the type of reps. There's no pads. It's mostly on air. They're not getting too physical with each other. But he said it was important to see the guys getting the calls out, hearing it just in person. It's helping out a lot. But we haven't seen this offensive line as a group much. Garrett Bowles has been largely out due to a family issue. How much does this O-line stand to gain the next few weeks? How much do they need to be together in this time to have success in 2021? Or does it not matter?
No, I think it definitely matters. I agree with Dalton 100%. The more time that they can spend together on the field, practicing physically what they've gone over mentally 1,000 times in meetings and on Zoom calls and all that, they get a chance to do it and do it live. And it's so intricate. It's so detailed. It can be a half a foot difference. And if guys aren't lined up right, or they step too far or too short, they expose the quarterback to pressure. So they got to get all those nuances down. And the only way you can do it is being on the field practicing it. And this is a great time to do it when, there aren't pads on. You can, tighten up a lot of little things, go back and look at film, make the corrections, because once the season starts, there's not as much time in between those games to improve each week.
Steve, we've only got 7 weeks until
it's coming.
It's coming. It is coming quick. We've got to take a quick break, but when we come back on Broncos Weekend, it's an obvious choice, but Peyton Manning is going into the Broncos Ring of Fame. We'll look at his Broncos career and list some of the names that might follow him in subsequent years. That's next. Peyton Manning going into the Broncos Ring of Fame seemed like a pretty sure thing when he announced his retirement in 2016. His career in Denver pretty much speaks for itself. But his impact on this current Broncos team is still being felt out there on the field.
First time I seen him drop back and he threw a pass in OTAs, it was like, yeah, he got it. He just kind of created this sense of urgency for everybody, not just the offense or the defense, but, even the janitors, even the coaches start coaching different. The janitors, the cooks, they all had this sort of spark to everybody, and it was the Peyton Manning effect. We all knew we had a chance to go win it, and went to the Super Bowl twice, won one. He motivated me on and off the football field. He showed me what it means to, be a leader on and off the football field. And, he kind of saved my career as well, seeing the way he operated and seeing the things that he did and seeing the way that he moved, it kind of inspired me and set up the blueprint for how I should do things.
He was able to toe that line. I'm sure the story it's all over that everyone knows about. Toe those lines of friendship and also demanding such excellence from them as well, which made him a truly incredible leader. Incredible career both in Indy and as he came here to Denver and broke a bunch of records and had 2 Super Bowl appearances, won 1 in 4 years, and incredible competitor, probably more than athlete. I don't think he was the greatest athlete per se, but he was the best competitor in the world, and he knew how to win, and that was the biggest key here in the NFL is winning.
It might look like he was putting in extra effort to really dot the I's and cross the T's, but that was just him, and I think his competitive nature drove his passion to really figure things out and to really never leave any detail unturned. I think that was just Peyton. And if that's not you and you're trying to do that, you're a false. Peyton is Peyton. It'll never be another Peyton Manning. We know this, but we can all take things that made him great and put it into our game.
Steve, you faced Peyton Manning one time.
And I didn't remember it a while back, but he
I'm
pointed
sure he
out.
did.
Yeah, he's like, no, we played one time.
Of course he did. It was a 13-6 loss on your part. You were with the New York Jets. You held in the 13 points.
Hey, man, we put it on
one
him,
touchdown.
man. We put him on. No.
What stands out to you about Peyton Manning? What's the biggest thing that stands out to you, Peyton Manning, the player?
Well, he's a stickler for details. He's a perfectionist. You can tell that from being around him. And he's talented, man. He's a master of his craft. I know that guys on this team, Brandon McManus, Von Miller, they were just pups back when they played with Peyton Manning, and they learned some valuable lessons that I'm sure helped them be the great leaders that they are today. So, he's touched many people, a ton of people when he was with Indianapolis. And then, although his time here was short, he still had a huge impact, not only on the guys in their locker room, but also the coaches and this community here in Colorado.
Let's talk about some of the other names that might be following Manning in subsequent years here. You need to be 5 years removed from football, 4 years of service to the Broncos, of course. So let's look at some of the older names, some of the guys that might have been overlooked at this point in the Ring of Fame, hierarchy. I've got Steve Foley, Al Wilson,
Sticky hands,
Steve Foley, and Ed McCaffrey as 3 names that have long surpassed that 5-year mark, but could be in the running for some recognition. Ed McCaffrey, 5th all-time in receptions and yards, 4th in TD catches. Al Wilson was a 5-time Pro Bowler. Steve Foley, the all-time interceptions leader.
Come on.
Steve, do those 3 guys in your mind, what do you think of when you think of those 3 guys?
Okay, first off, Eddie Mack, amazing hands, amazing speed.
Teammate of yours, of course.
Yeah, great teammate, super size for a wide receiver. I know guys wouldn't want to see him coming across the middle. And you saw that block he had in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Man, he and Ross Smith did their thing when they were blocking guys. And, of course, Al Wilson. I remember coming back to games after I retired and watching Al Wilson fill those holes in the middle. Oh, my goodness. And he doesn't get back to Denver too frequently, but when he comes back, I'm glad that he has a great relationship with everyone, and I think he'll be one of the next Ring of Famers. And then, of course, Steve Sticky Hands Foley, a great friend of mine. We played in the golf tournament a few days ago. Just a great guy, 44 career interceptions that leads everybody who plays for the Broncos is striving to get there. A great guy, great player, still here in the community. I'm pounding the table for Steve Foley.
Sticky hands, Steve Foley. 150 games.
That's a lot of games, man.
For Denver. What a career. What a career for all 3 of those guys. All 3 of those guys, hopefully, I think we could both agree, probably all 3 of those guys eventually are going to see their names up on the facade.
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory. You heard it here first. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back on Broncos Weekend, he never wore a helmet, but few impacted the Broncos more than Steve Antonopulos. We look back on the career of the man simply known as Greek next. Of all the great people to pass through the Broncos organization, only one man has been with the Broncos through all 8 of their Super Bowl runs, and that is Steve Antonopulos. The man, simply known as Greek around these parts, decided it was time to retire this week, but before he left, he took some time to reflect on a historic Broncos career.
I love the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry. I mean, I have put my heart and soul into this, and the Denver Broncos are first class. They've had great leadership. They do everything the right way. It's a people business, and they care about people. And to be able to work in an organization that the leadership cares about people so much is phenomenal. You work hard to have the opportunity to retire, but to walk away from something you love, that's why I've been here so long. Well, obviously the Broncos have allowed me to be here that long, but to stay in a position, have the opportunity to stay in a position all these years, it's because you love doing what you're doing, and I loved doing what I'm doing. I used to watch the games. I was a very loyal kid Bronco fan when I was a pup, and I always sat with my dad on Sunday watching the games, and I thought, man, if I could work for the Denver Broncos, that'd be unbelievable. And once I got into the field of athletic training, that was my goal. Someday, somehow, some way, if I'm ever given the opportunity, I'm going to jump at it, because that would be the ultimate. And really, it's a dream. I've always been one of these people that have the mindset that you got to defend your desk in everything that you do, and in order to do that, you got to be at your desk. So, the focus is always being on the job and focusing on the Denver Broncos. In retrospect, this has never been a job. It's been a career. I've never looked at it in the sense of people talk about their jobs and how hard. I don't care how hard they are. If you love what you're doing, you don't ever have to worry about your job, because there has never been a morning or an evening when I went home, a morning when I came to work, an evening when I went home, that I didn't say, hey, why am I doing this? My focus has always been, you coming to work. I love coming to work every morning. I loved it, which is probably going to be a hard thing for me. I just am so thankful to the Denver Broncos for the opportunity that I was given 45 years ago, and the blessing that I've gotten from being an employee of the Denver Broncos all these years. I love the Denver Broncos. I always will love the Denver Broncos, and I'm just been so blessed to have the opportunity to be here.
Steve, why is Greek so universally respected as a trainer? I mean, 45 years for one organization speaks for itself, but why was he so universally respected by everybody?
Well, I think more than anything, he respected everyone, and, he took time to build relationships with people. He just wasn't interested in taping your ankle or putting some ice on your shoulder. He wanted to know who you were as a person. And, we had some great conversations over the years, and most of the stuff wasn't even about football, just about life. And it was really a good time, and I think it was kind of therapeutic, I know, for me, and I would imagine for a lot of the other guys too, to know that they can come in and talk with Greek and the rest of the trainers and know that it could be a safe place where, they can, it's almost like therapy, be free to converse with them and have a relationship. So it was really cool. And I think that's the thing that makes him so special, is just how personable of a guy he is, and how much he genuinely cares about people.
You didn't miss a lot of games in your career, Steve. We heard from Rod Smith earlier this week. He credited Greek with a lot of his longevity. How much does a trainer have to do with a guy's longevity and ability to get back out on the field?
Oh, I think a lot, because in football, you're going to get banged up. And I was banged up almost every week, but, hey, they make sure that I was back on that field ready to go on the weekends. And, they were diligent, and they stayed on our case, sometimes probably more than we wanted, but I think it was a good thing. And I'll tell the story also of when you went into the training rooms, many times you'd have to practice harder than you were if you would have been in practice. So, You were anxious to get out of the training room and back on the field with your guys.
Coach Fangio jokes, Steve, that he doesn't think Greek is going to be able to stay away.
I'm with him. I agree with him. We're going to see Greek in this building soon. We may see him later on today.
Why do you think he got well so long? I mean, obviously his relationship with Pat Bowlen was special. His relationship with John Elway was also special. But, I mean, from owners to players to coaches, GMs, everybody he got along with everybody. And is it just that respect thing again? I mean, why can he, like the breadth of people that he can talk with is very impressive.
No, it is. And again, I just think he genuinely cares about people because you can't fake that. Come on, man. 45 years, you just can't fake it. You know, that's who he is at his core. He's a good human being who cares about others and loves people fully. And, he gives it his all. He's come here. He's worked hard. It's never been a day I've gotten to the facility and I beat Greek in. Or I was able to leave before him. So he's like, are you sleeping here?
Well, if he's watching, Greek, we wish you the best in retirement. And,
absolutely, Greek. We love you, man.
And if Steve's correct, we'll probably see you here on Monday.
That's right.
That'll do it for us today on Broncos Weekend. For the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater, I'm Matt Boyer. So long, Broncos country. We will see you next week.